Okay, so what we're going to be doing is a thing called a barg drawing, or in this case, it's a painting. But we're going to be doing a. So we're going to do a toned canvas where we're only using burnt sienna. You could use burnt sienna, white and black, so keep it monochromatic. And the black is obviously for the areas of shadow that are darker than the burnt sienna. But really, the idea of this is to show you how effective burnt sienna can be, and just burnt sienna, white and black, or even just burnt sienna being wiped away and using the canvas, like we're gonna do, to create pretty close to life skin tones in lighter skinned people. So keep this kind of quick, but so we can tone. This is old, but we can tone the canvas just by, right, we're just taking some burnt sienna and we're just gonna rub it with a rag, and just we want to make sure we don't put too much, and we make sure that we don't put not enough. So and what this is going to do is we're sort of taking the burnt sienna is going to act as our shadow value. So it may not be as dark as this the shadow area here in the picture, but we can always just add darker value to it at the end. I'm not gonna do that, but yeah, sorry, I'm concentrating on this. Yeah, so if you can't get the shadows to the exact value of this, feel free to just come in with. You can, I mean, you could tone this with something darker as well. So, like, if I wanted to add in black, I can tone it with black, but then it's sort of defeating the purpose of the skin tone. So, the burnt sienna working as the skin tone. So, all right, so we got, that's just our toned ground, and then for the actual setup of the this, you can see I have a crosshair. So we're gonna take the crosshair and just a straight edge ruler, and make sure you get this correct, because otherwise you're if you're using those lines as your guide, if it's off, it's going to affect your decision making process. So we're just, you can do this in pencil if you want as well. Oh, and I'm using an X-Acto knife blade. I have an X-Acto knife with a handle, but I left it at school, so that would be better, because you'll see we're going to use this to scrape off the paint, and you can use anything that's got a sharp edge. I mean, you can use the back of your paintbrush to. So basically, we're using it to draw. It's like you can treat it like a drawing tool. So, all right, and then we're gonna measure the distance to the center line. And this is, there's obviously some drawing skills here, aside from the painting skills. I'm not gonna go too into that because I'm not gonna do like a full demo of this, but yeah, make sure that you get these measurements correct. All right. Okie dokie. So we're gonna use again our burnt sienna is gonna take care of like some of the heavy lifting. In that we can just use that as our shadow value. Again, there's some areas we can work back into with our paint. So we're gonna be subtracting areas of light, and then we could also go back in with our actual paint and build up areas that need to be darker. So we're working additively and subtractively. And we're again just using burnt sienna. Alright, so with the drawing process, so I am going to just rough this in very basically. Very basic lines and shapes just to get a sense of the space and the overall feel. And if you don't want to do a toned ground, you can just leave it white and then just start to draw in the areas with a pencil if you like, or just the oil paint, like I'm doing here. But I'm gonna stick with a little scraper tool. So I'm using more straight lines. I'm not worried about all the little bumps of the contours. And we're just doing like a first pass. Like I'm not worried about a ton of accuracy. I'm just placing things in the general vicinity. And we can also check our measurements. So let's say I wanted to find where the edge of this was, or this. You could just put your brush tip up to it, and then move your finger, and then just move it over this way. Okay, so I can see I was a little bit off there. I do the same thing for that side. anyways, so you can just really draw it in however you want, but I'm gonna just start pulling out some of those light shapes. And pay attention to our shadow edges. So any kind of cast shadow is going to have a hard edge like this. I mean, there's going to be occasions where they get a little bit more soft than others, but typically doing a hard edge is going to indicate a cast shadow. And remember, we don't want to spend too much time on these initial lines. We don't want to do real complex lines because we're most likely going to have to change where we actually put them. People don't typically get it right the first time. Actually, they almost never do. So yeah, so if we spend a whole bunch of time doing all the little dips and contours, it's just a waste of time at this stage because we're going to have to go in and reform those edges, and then we end up just losing a whole bunch of time. So and if it wasn't obvious, we're doing this at a 1-to-1 ratio. So we're doing the same exact size. Yeah, I don't know, something happened here. My measurement was off with that. Okay, so I'm not going to draw out everything here, but so we can now just go in and I have my basic drawing here, and we're just gonna either go in with our brush or our rag and just wipe out the areas of light.